Welcome back to the Add-On Podcast. So I wanted to give my final thoughts on the 2023 Mr. Olympia. No happened a few days ago. I just never got a chance to give my thoughts. But we'll start with the open division. And I was right. You know what I'm saying? I predicted Derek Lunsford to win. He shocked the world. He beat, Hadi Chupin, the reigning champ. And I'm not going to lie. Even though I picked him to win, after prejudging in finals, especially after finals, I did still think that, Hadi was going to, retain the title. Because they always say, man, to beat the champ, you got to knock him out. And I don't think that Derek just hit it out the park in its entirety. Neither do I think Hadi. Neither do I think anybody really hit it out the park. That's why I do think if Nick Walker was there actually this year, we'll touch on him, he would have had a nice chance. But, hey, man, you had Andrew Jack coming in 5th place. You had Brandon Curry coming in 4th place, which was phenomenal for Brandon, considering the fact, he had some ulcers going on, coughing up blood. So I think that definitely kind of took away from his fullness a little bit because he probably wasn't able to eat. His conditioning wasn't really there, but he wasn't that bad, 3rd place, who they have in 3rd place? Samson Dowda. Oh, Samson was another dude that potentially, I thought honestly it could have went either way, but I did think, Hadi did enough to retain it. But I'm more than happy enough that Derek won. I mean, like I said, I predicted he would win. He's a great ambassador. I love one of the most things I love about Derek is, man of God, man of Christ. Always, I don't know if y'all can see the shirt, always, talking about God. So he's going to be a great ambassador of the sport, bring more fans to the sport of bodybuilding. Because I know there's a lot of people out there who love fitness, but don't really watch the Mr. Olympia or anything like that. So I think Derek is going to be an amazing ambassador for the sport. And maybe that's what the judges were looking at. I think they realized that Hadi was the most conditioned, but maybe the simple fact that, Hadi's in Iran and just, can't really speak English and can't really kind of come to the States. It's not up to him, obviously. I mean, if he, like I was hearing earlier today, if it was up to Hadi, he would come to the States, because I was watching Jay Cutler's podcast. But I just think they wanted this an ambassador just who speaks English and, is in the States, and maybe they just thought they were going to give it to Derek. And Derek's back double bicep, man, lights out. And once he turns around, it was nobody that came close to him. Like even Samson, it looked like he had, the conditioning from Samson, even the width, and you compare that to Derek, it's not even comparable. Like you really can't. I think everybody had their strengths in the top 3. I feel like Samson, I think he was the most complete. I actually will think that. I was watching a live stream with Lee Priest and some of the guys, and I thought Samson had a chance, but I just think he needed to be a little bit more dry, a little bit more peeled. But I think that Milo, I think that he didn't really bring Samson in that much condition because he was probably going to sacrifice some of his fullness inside. So I think maybe next year he'll probably come with a little bit better conditioning, but not just overly shredded to the point where he loses some of that fullness, because that's kind of what happened with Michael Krizo. I'm glad Michael Krizo had 7th, but if I'm being completely unbiased, I think Regan would have been able to beat him. I think Michael was a little bit more conditioned, but I think Krizo, he lost some of that thickness and fullness in his quads, and just he didn't really have that pop. Like last year's Mr. Olympia, he looked it better this year, don't get me wrong, because his tan was better, his oil was better, his posing was better, he was more conditioned, but he didn't quite have that fullness. So I think Krizo, along with Samson, along with even Andrew Jack, is going to have to find that fine line between conditioning and fullness and really check. Because Regan was right on his tail. I think Regan was 8th, right? He was 8th, right? And then I know Krizo was 7th. But I'm looking at the pictures, and I had no idea Regan Grimes has backed up a bicep like that. Back like he's from behind. Regan's a problem. So he was right there neck and neck with Krizo. I did think Krizo did enough to edge him out. He's better in the arm department. I think he's better in that. That side tricep when he hits that in the feather. He definitely had, his quads were definitely feathered. It just didn't have that pop, that fullness, I don't think, that we know Krizo from. And even hearing, Jay Cutler's podcast, the guest he had on, I forgot the guy's name, but he was saying that like as big as Krizo was, Regan Grimes standing next to him, it didn't really see much of a difference. And that tells you, Krizo was really, really kind of incommitted, just conditioning, but he got to find that center line. I wish he would, work on his posing, open up a little bit more. Maybe can use more lats. He needs Chris definitely needs a wider back to be able to compete with the top five. I definitely say. I mean, he's got great arms, got great conditioning. I'm saying his back detail in his back is great, but I'm happy for him. I mean, that was definitely what I predicted. I thought he was going to be able to get top 6, but I'm not mad at it. Top 7, he moved up with like 5 slots. So, hey, for sure. But back to the top 3, Samson, like I said, I think he was the most complete up to down. I mean, he had probably arguably a smaller waist than Derek. I mean, if you're going, maybe not literally, but just if you're looking at just the height to weight ratio, his waist is really good. I mean, his quads definitely doesn't have the detail or the density of, of Hadi Chupin, but definitely his legs are better than Derek Lunsford, even though Derek improved in that department. He had Samson by far had the best chest, that pop he had, in the top 3. Derek, I think, obviously had the best back, shredded glutes, shredded to the bone from the back. The detail on his back was crazy, but I think from the front is why I still believe that I thought Hadi was going to retain, honestly. I wanted Derek to win. I picked him to win, but I mean, I thought that Hadi did enough to retain, because I don't think Derek just blows him away. I think Hadi is more, I mean, don't get me wrong, Derek blows everybody away from the back, but Hadi is not like completely off. Like his back double bicep isn't back, and his back lat spread, he's wider. I don't know if he's wider than Derek, but he's right there. He's pretty wide in the conditioning. He has conditioning in, the hamstrings and glutes as well. It's just when you get to the back, it's way more softer than Derek. But I think he's comparable. But when you get to the front, you get to that, even the front double. I don't really know who would you give that to. You can argue, you can make a case for all 3, honestly. But one pose I would definitely give to Hadi would probably be that most muscular for sure. That the feathering, the striations in his chest, the side chest was closed, the side tricep, all the poses were closed from the front. You know what I'm saying? Because even the side tricep, for instance, I think Hadi was better up top, but Derek was better downstairs. But it's a side tricep pose, and I think the judges were probably looking at the full thing, because Derek, from like that lower body he had, was pretty crazy. But I just think, I don't know. You guys comment down below. I'm not mad at the decision. I'm not saying it was a robbery. I think Hadi walking off stage like that, I think people kind of overreacted though, saying, "Oh, he was so disrespectful and all this is that." Yeah, I mean, I'd be wrong to say it was wrong. It wasn't wrong. It was wrong, but I mean, when Derek got his name called, Hadi was clapping. He gave him a hug. He got it. He received his medal, hit the first pose, and then he dipped. Like, it was just like in the heat of the moment. You know what I'm saying? We always say, like, you got to knock out the champ. Like when Big Ramy placed 5th, he was definitely not nowhere near where he was last year. That's why he got dropped to 5th. But even then, people were kind of complaining, like, did they really knock him out for him to get 5th? Maybe he should have been 3rd. Maybe he should have been 2nd. But it was a tough showing. It was the tough showing for sure. But I think everybody was off. I don't think everybody nailed it 100%. Derek from the back definitely nailed it. But I think overall, Derek, he has some flaws that I think Nick Walker, my favorite bodybuilder, could have possibly. He could have. I'm not saying he could have won, but I'm not saying he would have won. But I'm saying he could have won. You know what I'm saying? Because I think if he would have brought that fullness from last year's with crazy conditioning, he beats a lot of. Derek can't beat Nick Walker, I don't think, in that side chest. That side tricep, even Derek does not even have he has abs, but when they call, ab and thigh or whatever, like, he does a vacuum. It's impressive that he's able to do a vacuum and open, but he should be kind of deaded a little bit or dotted for not actually hitting that pose. And Nick Walker on that side tricep, we all know he has huge arms, and his abs are deeply cut and separated, along with that hanging hamstring he has, and then the most muscular, he's right up there with Hadi, so in the front shots. And then I will say this as well, not saying that Nick is better from the back, but Nick would have been the only competitor, had he been on stage, to compete with Derek from the back. Nick's back double bicep and back lat spread is very, very impressive. It's probably second in the world behind Derek. Everybody else is Derek smokes. You know what I'm saying? But Nick would have been that guy to kind of compete with Derek from the back, but also have some poses where Derek just doesn't have that muscle density and that hardness from the front as well. So I mean, those are my thoughts on it. Transition to classic physique though. C-Bum, Chris Bumstead wins his 5th title. Happy for C-Bum, man. I think at this point he's pretty much unbeatable until, you know what I'm saying, he retires. I was getting kind of scared for a second. I'm like, are they gonna give it to Ramon? But I'm like, last second, I think like, nah, they ain't gonna give it to him. And then I was right. Ramon definitely made some improvements, but I just think that Chris, even if you know what I'm saying, Ramon has better arms or even slightly better separation in the leg in the quad department, even if Chris is bigger, and better abs, I think Ramon has. Chris just has that. He has that look, like Chris said in interviews. You know, he's established a look that they like, and they're gonna stick with it. And I think that it's really nothing Ramon, Urs, or anybody can do. Structurally, Chris is just superior more than everybody. He can go for 8 titles if he wanted to, 10 if he wanted to. I'm just curious to see what he decides to do. As much as I want to see Chris go to the Open, if I'm being like not selfish and actually caring about the men's health, he probably shouldn't try to go to Open and, you know, eat more food, probably have to take more gear and try to bulk up like that. I would say maybe get a few titles, retire, get your health, you know, intact, you know what I'm saying? Enjoy your life. If you want to start a family or whatnot with your kids or whatnot, just look at it from that perspective. We always, you know, go to the Open, but you got to also look at, you know what I'm saying, be cautious of what you want, and just kind of care about these men's health because they go through a lot in open body, but to get to that professional level, like none of these guys are natural. We know that. So, yeah, man, I just think that Chris is just superior more than everybody. I don't really think there's really anything Ramon can do. I think if Ramon had a little bit more width and like wider lats, he would be able to compete with Chris. But I think considering he's so like, don't get me wrong, like Ramon has some great features even that I like a little bit more than Chris. I mean, that tiny waist, big forearms, sometimes overpowering. He has like literally an 8-pack. Even when Ramon hits a vacuum, you can still see how many cut up abs he has. It's pretty insane for sure. I know Derek kind of received some backlash and, you know, Hottie fans, you know, going at him, threatening him, you know, him and his wife and all this. That was just uncalled for sure. Regardless if you'd agree with the decision or not, it wasn't a robbery. It could have went either way. And I'm saying that even including Samson. If Samson went, I don't think nobody would have been like, oh, what the heck? You know what I'm saying? Like, he had some knockout poses as well. I just think he wasn't as conditioned as the other 2 guys. But overall, man, I'm happy for the man. Happy Derek won. First ever 2-division world champ, won in 212. Now he won an Open. It's going to be interesting to see with Nick Walker back in the mix next year and what Hottie can do. Because, I mean, does he come in like he did in 2018, 2019, bring that shredded conditioning, or does he try to get bigger? I really don't know. Because, I mean, I feel like this year he was pretty good this year. I feel like prejudging, it wasn't as good as he was in finals, but I think, and maybe that's why he lost the title. But overall, everybody did an amazing job. Yeah, and I'll probably talk about more of like the outside of the top 10. You guys let me know who you want me to talk about, who you want me to kind of compare their physiques and whatnot. But Derek, he has the potential to, you know, win a few for sure. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe. Tap into my main channel, Emmanuel R&D. Link to that will be in the description. Other than that, I'll see you guys next video.